Hi, welcome to Travel Tales with Judith. I'm Judith, and I share experiences and stories from a lifetime of traveling. Today is episode 14, and I'm going to talk about a book, an island, and a series of walks. A few years ago, a man from England, a watercolorist, transplanted himself to the island of Bornholm, where he decided he would live permanently. He found the beauty on the island just lovely and decided that he would put together a series of paintings from the entire circumference of the island, from the coast. And the book is called Kust, which means coast, and it's 52 walks from dawn to dusk around the Danish island of Bornholm. I'll show you a couple pictures. I can't do the book justice from this vantage point, but he would do rock formations at different times of the day. He would do clouds and how the sea changed as the day went by. And he spent a year putting this together. The book is in English and in Danish. If you're at all interested, I'll put the website up on the screen. But that's the only place you can get it, and it's extremely heavy, so it's gonna, it probably cost a lot. I know how heavy it is because it was in my suitcase coming home a few years ago, and it was heavy. Now, this island, Bornholm, is near and dear to my heart. I lived there for a full year in 1988-89. Since then, I've made a number of visits, particularly in the last 10 or 12 years. A lot of visits because my significant other lives on the island, and we go back and forth. But when I saw this book, and okay, I need to back up a minute. So COVID started. There wasn't much to do, and I couldn't get over to see him for quite a while. And he couldn't come to the States. But when I finally did get over, we weren't associating with anybody. And he had gotten a copy of this book. And I looked through the book, and it absolutely inspired me to walk around the island. Now, the island is a diamond-shaped island. There'll be a map coming up later. And it's about 20 miles from tip to bottom. And it's just a gorgeous little island. And there's, towns and I mean, it's part of Denmark. It's different than the rest of Denmark. They call it the Sunshine Island because supposedly it gets more sunshine than the rest of Denmark does. So since we couldn't do very much during the COVID period, we decided we would try to walk around the island. And the walk around the island is 150 kilometers, more or less, which is about 90 miles. And we had to do some of it twice because we'd park our car and then we'd walk an hour or two, and then we'd have to walk back to the car. That was mainly on the west side of the island. When we got around more to the east side, there were buses close to the coast where we could take a bus, or we could take a bus up somewhere and walk back. So we didn't have to double our steps. And at this point in time, right now, as of about 3 years ago, we had done 3/4 of the island. I went again a few months ago, 18 months ago, and we were going to try to keep walking, and I got COVID, and that ruled me out for that. So the walk is not quite finished. What amazed me about the walk was that every day that we set out, there was some unique characteristic, some different aspect that we noticed or we saw that wasn't from the day before or the day after, or maybe from no other walk on the island. There was always something different. It always kept our interest. Now, we walked predominantly along the coast, obviously, as close as we could get to the coast, many times right on the beach. And while I'm talking now, I'm showing you some pictures above the beach where we could walk. But there were also times where we were climbing over rocks and doing a little bit more strenuous walking. Otherwise, I would say it was pretty much a moderate walk. I mean, walking in the sand is kind of hard anyway sometimes. But the rock formations, the colors of the rocks, the little towns that you pass, um, what the water's doing that day, all the birds that are out there, the swans, it's really, really beautiful from day to day. So, um, to get to Bornholm, normally you fly into Copenhagen and you can fly out. It's another half an hour flight out to Bornholm. Or you can bus or train from Copenhagen area over that wonderful bridge that's half above the water and half in a tunnel to Sweden, and then along the south coast of Sweden till you get to the town of Ystad, where you get an hour and a half ferry out to the island. I can't tell you how much this walk has meant to me, how I notice things so much more clearly than if I'd never gone and walked around the coast. Um, we both felt that it was a very worthwhile thing to do, and I am hoping this summer that I am going to be able to complete that walk. We'll see how that goes. This is probably going to be the first of a couple episodes on the island of Bornholm. I can see at least one more episode talking about more walks. The map that you saw, that I showed you a little earlier, had markers of how far we went each day and how much time it took, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I want to complete the walk. I want to feel like I've walked completely around the island. So hopefully sometime maybe you'll consider a visit there. There's a lot of German tourists, there's Swedish tourists, not that many American tourists because Americans don't know about it very much. But it's charming. The towns are quaint. Um, the building, the architecture, it's very Danish. The streets a lot of times in town are cobblestone. It's just a lovely place to be, and I very much recommend it.